Hello and welcome to Flory Models. Here we are on Friday the 17th of January 2020. Thank you so much for everybody who joined us last night. As you might remember, we've got a new format for our live shows on Thursday night. To be honest, wasn't very happy with them over the last few sort of months because they were just getting a little bit stale and boring and things like that. So we thought we'd have a little bit of a kick up its arse really and try and get it more sort of, moving along, a bit more current, and obviously really getting you guys involved with it as well. So we tried our new system. Basically, it's just myself and two others on. So last night we had Andy and Nathan. Massive thank you for you guys for joining us. And we were looking at basically areas around the forum and discussing everything that was going on with you guys in the live chat. And that was the whole point to it. It worked absolutely fantastically because we had 183 of you in the chat room at one point. And then obviously we had about 165 of you watching live as we were on there. Originally we were only planning on going an hour, but it flew so well and went so well. I looked down and realised that actually it was 20 to 9. So we thought we might as well just carry on anyway. So we were thoroughly enjoying it. But I did ask for your feedback. You've obviously been giving it, and thank you to everybody with all your kind words of support and everything else. Again, sometimes things just need shaking up and changing, and that's what we thought we'd do with that one, just to make it a little bit more interactive, especially with you guys getting involved with it. And you guys really did, and that was a nice thing. So we were obviously answering your questions and obviously following up with what we were talking about, with what you guys were talking about, looking at your great work as well, and generally having a really good time with it as well. Thoroughly enjoyed it. So yes, looking forward to doing lots more of those. At one point we were thinking maybe of making them fortnightly or once a month, but actually we all really enjoyed doing it. So we will be continuing to keep those weekly as we make our way through. Anyway, from my point of view today, we have part 1 of the Gloster Gladiator is up with you. And I have to say, it's gorgeous. It really is a very nice kit. There's a couple of little weak spots with this particular one. For instance, I'm a little bit concerned about the tail wheel. It's almost here with a hope and a prayer, rather than any sort of proper joins or anything else. And then also, one thing, I spoke to the guys about this after we came off air, but the actual tails, the way it fits on, there's just nothing really holding it there. And we're assuming that, the real thing is probably bolted somehow and all the way through. So I think what I'm going to do is we're actually going to remove these tiny little locating pins, and they are just, they're non-existent. And what we're going to do is end up putting a proper brass rod right the way through, and then that way it can be squared up and everything. The fuselage is perfect for it. It's just that these will need to be drilled out, but we will do that and make our way through it. But generally the quality of the moulding is absolutely gorgeous, very nice. And then obviously the plastic, we were saying actually on the show last night, it's very soft, but actually the glue bites to it instantly. It's got instant grip, so a tiny bit of extra thin and that's it, it's got it. And sanding it is beautiful, very nice indeed, although it is quite soft, to say the least with these things. As you can see, I haven't glued this one, but they are very thin parts and very floppy, but who misses. But yeah, it's coming together really nicely. Part 1 is up with you. It's up on the site right now, and actually I can show you somewhat of this one. Where are we? Here it is, over here. So part 1 is up on the forum right now. You can get to it via the site as normal, but really we were talking about putting in the small parts. As you can see down in here, there's some clear parts that actually go up onto the spine with it. We used a bit of MRP for the internal green, okay, for that lovely green internals, and then a little bit of dry brushing with some buffables, which really just give it a worn, heavy look and stuff like that. We did basically wooden instrument panel on this one. Decals are really nice. They go down and conform with no setting solutions at all. And then to give it that glass look, all I did was give it a little bit of PVA glue on the top. You can see it all in situ down in there. And then we went in there with just a simple oil wash. So we used a little bit of smoke, and there's me brushing it around in there and going right the way through. And there's me happily doing it with part 1, okay? So if you want to see that one is up with you right now. We're going to be making our way through with this one. To be honest with you, like the guys were saying, it's coming together really quickly, which it is. So it shouldn't actually be too long. What I'm planning on doing is putting a little bit more work into this one, moving it along a little bit, and then obviously I'll be starting on the MiG-23, and then we're going to go back and start the paintwork and everything else like that actually on the Millennium Falcon. So we've got 3 builds on the go, making our way through on this one. But anyway, part 1 is up now. Have a look at it. You will love it. I know a lot of you got this kit when I got it, and a lot of you are asking when I was going to be doing it. So we have started now, and I have to say I'm loving every minute of it, apart from a couple of little weak spots. But that's the whole point of this. I'll find them first, and I can explain to you guys exactly how to get rid of it, or definitely how to make it stronger, I think, and things like that. But apart from that, beautiful little kit. Other thing do need to talk about is, say, speaking of changes and stuff like that, as of last night, we are on our new premium subscription system. That's the official title for it. I call it that single sign-in thing because it's a year ago yesterday that it got activated. So if you are one of the 50-odd people who the system has no idea how you're even on the site, I don't know. It could be things like you were given a free subscription. I know, obviously, we've given away hundreds over the years. It may be one of those, and I just can't remember ever doing it, so it's in a pile where it shouldn't have been. Or it may be that your subscription lapsed some time ago and it never got picked up on the old system, things like that one, so forth and so on. So there's 100 reasons it could be, all of them genuine, or it might be it just got overlooked. Okay, if it has and you're being requested to take out a premium subscription, if you haven't paid obviously in the last year, all the rest of it, just follow the link onto it, set up your subscription, and you'll carry on from where you left off. And that's the beautiful thing to it. Okay, so you won't lose anything, nothing changes or anything like that. All that happens now is with the new system, you're given a 12-digit code number thing, okay? And then with that, what happens is that is what follows you around all the sites. So it enables you to get into the live chat room, obviously with all the live stuff, into the forum, onto the main site, and all the different areas like that, because it just looks for that 12-digit code instead of your name. Originally, it used to look for your name, but it all got a bit confusing, so that's why we changed the system. But if you can't get in for any reason, don't forget, shoot me a message, either at sales@florymodels.co.uk if you want an email like that, or just message me via any of the other usual ways of doing it, and I'll get back to you and get you up and running as soon as possible. Don't forget, on Sunday we are at the IPMS Bolton show. It's an absolutely fantastic show. If you've never been to it, it's a great venue. There's tons of free parking as well, because obviously it's at the football ground, which is even easier. Okay, and it's nice and flat, easy access, and all of those things to it. It's a hell of a poke for me to go all the way up there, but I do enjoy it. It's a good, friendly show. We're going to be up there. Obviously, Matt will be up there. Andy will be up there. Nathan's going to be there as well. So if you want to come along and say hello, it'd be great to meet you all there, as always. The other thing as well is that if you've got anything you want to pick up from there, from sort of the Doncaster store at PM Models, things like that, remember they'll be closing the store at midday, because obviously we need to load the lorry, and then obviously we're over there for setup on Saturday night. So I'll be leaving here sometime mid-morning tomorrow morning to drive up there, so we're then set up and we can get set up in the evening, and then it makes Sunday a little bit easier for us. And then I'll be travelling home Sunday night, and to be honest, I'm going to have Monday off as we make our way through. Anyway, what I thought we'd do is have a look at some of the questions from you guys, because obviously the questions, what I intend to do now is just to break them up a little bit, is do them really on a daily basis instead of having to wait a week. So we're a little bit like it used to be back in the day with that one. Anyway, first question is from John. He says, quick question, might be a dumb one, but I'll ask anyway. What's the difference between a member and an FM member? Relation to the forum. Okay, that is basically the old system and the new system. If you're an FM member, you're on the old system, okay, which hopefully you've been automatically upgraded to the new one, okay, but if you're down as just a member, you're automatically on the 12-digit code. That's how it came in. It's just so from a glance I could tell who's on the old system, who's on the new system. Everybody now in the forum technically is on the new system. If you're in the new system, you're on it, but just as a way I could tell how many people we had in the new way coming in, and in the old way it was doing it that way. They are both exactly the same. There is no difference between an FM member. It's just a Flory Models member and just a member. At some point I might go around and change everyone's tag so everybody is the same now. It was just that I had an idea of the percentage of members who weren't on the new system versus the new one before we switched it over last year, but now everybody's on it, so it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. Okay, Jeff says, hi Phil, I'm currently decaling my Edard 148 scale BF 109G5. The version that I'm doing is the RLM 76 light blue all over. Quite a few of the stencils are duplicated in both red and black, most noticeable ones being the non-walkway dashed lines which go on top of the surface of the wings near the roots. Edard's instructions don't tell you which colour stencil to use for which colour schemes. I'm guessing in the real world the stencil data may show up better on one of the camo schemes than the black better than others. Red and black works equally well on my light blue aircraft. I'm assuming that the RLM has detailed when the red stencils should have been used and when the black ones should have been used, but so far I haven't had the answer on any of my reference materials or online. So which stencil should I use? We're a day too late with this one because this is Nathan's territory. He was on last night. To be honest with you, I don't know. I am not up on German World War II. Hopefully one of the guys who's watching us or anything else like that in the forum, if you post it up on today's show, that's easier than posting it in there. That way we don't get, blocked or anything else like it. So if anybody knows, please post up in there and let us know. I don't know. Normally it's a contrast colour. The red dashed ones I always used to think was always more on the darker schemes, shall we say, than the actual with the black dashes. Equally, whichever way it is. But I think what it is if being Eddard, you've probably got multiple different styles. One of them is in there, and obviously they forgot to say which one is for which. But unfortunately, I'll be honest with you, I would be guessing by saying which one is the other way around. But hopefully somebody on the site can actually let you know on that one. If not, I'll shoot Nathan a message, and I'm seeing him Sunday as well, and I'll find out for you. Scoby says, hi Phil and team, can I pick your brains? I don't seem to be able to find your Italy 124 scale police van you painted yellow. Okay, so that was, I'm just trying to think when that was. That was a live show that me and Matt did probably 2 years ago now, that we were doing them just of an evening and messing around when we did a lot of the live stuff like that. So what you need to do is go back through the live shows and have a look for it. After the show, I'll have a look, and if I can find it, I'll link it up underneath. But it was a few years ago we did now. Both of those vans that me and Matt did are actually at the Doncaster store in the display cabinet. They're next to each other up there, so it's quite a nice little display with them on there. But yes, they are up there. I will find them and I'll get back to you on that one. Okay, Andrew, hi Phil, how are you doing? Please can I ask you a question about Tamiya Lacquers? I bought some from PM at Telford and I'm hoping to use them on a body shell of a car kit I want to build. Is it okay to thin them like Tamiya acrylics? I've got Mr. Hobby leveling thinner, but also I've bought some Tamiya retarded thinners when I got to my local shop. This is, just to point out, is the guys yapping about the show on Saturday and organising it and sorting things out. So I'll just turn them off a minute, apologies. Yes, so you can get Tamiya's own retarded lacquer thinner, or obviously you can do it with the old 400 as well. I don't know why I've got the lights on behind me today. Why are those lights on? They are working. Oh yeah, sorry, I just forgot to turn them on. I'll be honest with you, in testing, and I use that word roughly, I couldn't really spot any difference between both of these. The biggest difference I could spot though, from a money point of view, because this bottle here, which is 250ml, is £7.50, or you can have 400ml, and I think this is a tenner. So yeah, that's the thing to this one. Definitely, I would say it's more cost effective to actually go with the 400ml, obviously, than this one. Using wise, I couldn't actually see any difference. And I'll be honest with you, I was using this stuff in anger, as in normally, when I did the big truck, when I did the big Kenworth, the monster truck as it was, that was because I wanted a gloss finish in that gold colour. I thought I'd try with this. When I did the bonnet, I used this. They're together, you cannot see any difference whatsoever, and from a spraying point of view, I didn't notice any difference either. So I think they are exactly the same working type of thing. But to be honest with you, Mr. Colour Leveling Thinner is cheaper, because I think it's around about £10 for 400ml instead of £7.50 for 250ml. So you're going to get another 200ml for roughly the same money. So from that point of view, just treat them that way. Other thing, Andrew, I haven't forgotten about your hard drive. In the list of excuses, I've got quite a good one, and the reason I haven't done it yet, which I won't go into here, but I will get hold of another passport drive and I'll load up all that stuff on there for you and I'll get it posted off to you. I'll get it done next week. I'll buy one over the weekend and I'll get it sent over to you, and we'll do it like that. But apologies for that, Rodders. I'll get you sorted very, very soon on that. Okay, Mark says, hi Phil and team, I'm trying to get the Tamiya Mozzie finished and I thinned the paint work quite a bit, but the results are still rough. Even after spraying on the Alclad Aqua Gloss varnish, I'm worried about applying decals. What would your team suggest? Okay, so you can see it down in here. This is what we're talking about, this speckly finish and all the rest of it. What's happening is, there's two things happening there. One is it's basically drying before it's getting to the surface, and once it's on the surface it's being blown and it's drying as it's literally hitting there. It hasn't got time to sort of absorb into each other. So two things. One, you're probably spraying a little bit too far away, and secondly, you've got your air pressure too high. And trust me, I am exactly the same. It's exactly the same thing I used to have all the time with it. All right. So what you want to do is make your paintwork just a little bit wetter. That way, especially with gloss coats, satin finishes, and flat coats even, you want them to sort of blend into each other. So it's got time to eat in and go down and things like that. Okay. So you want to be a little bit closer. So you need to turn your air pressure down so you can get closer, so you're not blowing it everywhere and putting it down. We spoke about this. Me and Matt spoke about it on the Wednesday live show. I think we spoke about it a little bit last night as well. You can always tell if you're spraying too far away or too much air pressure. Just look around. If you can see clouds of, basically spray paint in the air around you and everywhere's looking a bit foggy, you're just wasting paint. Because instead of it actually sticking to your model, it's hitting it, deflecting off, and that's what's going airborne, okay? And that's why you get some of that trouble. So really, just air pressure down, get a little bit closer, put it on a little bit wetter, so it's looking a little bit more wet, and you'll find you'll have no problems with it at all. For curing that, the easiest way, to be honest, is to just give it a very light rub right the way over. So if you just use something like, to be honest, the green side on the polisher would work it perfect, okay? Or if you got one of the new or old, whichever way you want to look at it, the big ones on the actual blue side, don't use the polishing side, you can just rub it off and away you go with it. The trouble is, if you're overcoating, you've got a texture now to your paintwork. So unless you flood it, you're going to get that all the way through. And that's what we've spoken about before. When you put down a coat, so say your primer was like that, it's going to show through on your paintwork. It's going to show through on your paintwork, it will show through on your gloss work. And then after all, it's going to show through. At some point, you need to just give it a very light rub right the way over with a very fine paper. If you've got something like micro mesh finishes, stuff like that, a quick rub over with that will neutralize it. But just remember to get rid of the dust that's caused by sanding by using either a tacky cloth or literally a tiny little bit of airbrush cleaner, acrylic airbrush cleaner on a damp cloth, and just wipe it all off your model, let it dry, and then overcoat it, and you'll be good to go. It's nothing you can't come back from. It's just one of those things. But I'll be honest with you, I could probably look at 4 or 5 models around here now still, they look exactly the same, and that's when I used to spray at higher air pressures, okay, and I used to get that type of look, and it looks just like I did as well. It's just that it hasn't got time to blend in. That's the easy way. It's just stuck, comes along and just goes stick. So you want it to be a little bit wetter so it's got time to blend in and go. And obviously it is a fine line because you don't want to get runs and stuff, but that would be my advice onto that one. Okay, Stephen says, hi Phil, did I hear you right saying something about a new Hercules? Yes, Zvezda apparently are releasing a new C-130. I'm very excited about it. In fact, I've got one up there, which I was planning to do this year as a sort of secret build at the end of the year. I might still even do it, but it's up there, you see. I've got 2 up there that I'm planning on doing this year, one being the Hercules. But now I've heard Zvezdas are bringing theirs out. I might be tempted to hold off and see what theirs is like, and then offload that one quick. Okay, Rob says, good afternoon, Phil. Hope all is well. It's me, poshed up, grown up voice, especially calling me Phillip. No one calls me Phillip. Okay, this is a bit of a strange one because I can't see where I've gone wrong. Sprayed a Tamiya, sprayed a part with Tamiya XF2 white over grey base, left it for a few days to dry, then sprayed it with Tamiya X35 semi-gloss clear. And it is dissolved the white and the grey base is showing. I gave it a healthy coat of white because being white. So what do you think? Right, what did you thin it with? What paint did you thin it with? Because that's a bit of a clue. If you've used something like a self-leveling thinner, the chances are it's very aggressive and it might be eating down into the grey, and then because of the white has now got wet as well and it's eating right the way through. That would be my guess. You've just gone in there and flooded it, and this is the bit where it's finding a balance. We were just talking about it not being wet enough. This is when it's too wet. So what happens is that the thinner can actually reactivate the paint that's below it. Even if you're using acrylic thinners, it can do it as well. But it's normally lacquer thinners are quite aggressive and they'll start reactivating stuff underneath it as you're spraying it down. That would be my guess to it. As I say, I'm only guessing about what you've used as a thinner. But if you use something like a lacquer-based self-leveling thinner, the chances are it's eaten its way through the white, it's got into that grey, and then it's leaching through the colours. And it doesn't matter how long you've left it, if it's going to reactivate it, it will do it. That's when we say about thin coat. So just come along with, obviously, if you're using lacquer paints especially, it's a thin coat. Let it dry, give it 20 minutes, half an hour, let it dry, give it another coat, let it dry, and that way you build it up quite slowly, because otherwise if you go in there too much, too wet, it's just going to turn into a mush ball. We spoke about it the other day about spraying white. You do that thing, you put down white, you think you need to cover it a bit more, you flood it, and then it just reactivates what's on there, nothing's dry, and it just won't go. You're just making it wet and it drips off. But if you do a thin coat, let it dry, thin coat, let it dry, thin coat, let it dry. A couple of coats, you've done it. Okay, but you don't want to activate the coat that's been there before, because now you've just got two lots which are really wet and they both need to dry. Then it just becomes one giant pool of wet sogginess, which, to be honest, sounds like what you've done here. Okay, but again, it may be, I could be completely off here. It will just be interesting to know what you have used as a thinner. But you can see where it's done it just down in here. To be honest, you could say it's got away with it. It's just weathered. Just put it down as weathering, you'll be fine. That's what we all do. Anyway, there we go. That is it for today. So don't forget, there will be no show on Monday. I haven't even got anything to do because I've got nothing to edit. I'm up to date with it all. But to be honest, because I'm working all weekend, I'm going to have the Monday off just to catch up with bits and pieces and stuff like that. If you're finding it difficult to get onto the Flory Models Forum and you're being asked to subscribe, please subscribe. If not, shoot me a message and I'll get you sorted out on the right track, and away you go with that one. All right. Don't forget, we are obviously at the IPMS Bolton show on Friday, so make sure you come and see us then as well. Just one last thing before we go. As always, we'll just have a look around at the PM store because they have got some more specials that have gone live for us today. Okay, if you were on with me on Matt on Wednesday afternoon, you would have seen these ones. Oh, it's sold out already. Scrap that. That's already gone. But we got some Zvezda at some very tasty deal prices. So again, these are all on specials. They're only up for 1 week. And the other thing I do have to say, everybody, is that these will be going to the show with us on Bolton as well. Okay, so they might not be here as of Sunday. All right, but as I say, we've got some great deals down in here. We've got the Superbug, we've got the Leopard. That's the border model one. I might bring one of them back to do a review on that one as well. Okay, but we've got some other ones down in here right the way through. I heard some disturbing news. Apparently, Tamiya have dropped the Aggressor F16 kit. So they're going to go back to just doing the Block 52, the Block 2532 and then the Block 52. Block 50, sorry. So yes, a bit worried now. Anyway, some great deals down in there as always. If you want to grab yourself a bargain, grab it now, because I say it is all coming with us to Bolton. So if they've gone at Bolton, then obviously they'll be out of stock and then we won't be able to supply you, things like that. Generally, everything's pretty much quiet at the moment on the actual deals and stuff coming in at the moment, but hopefully me and Matt will be able to do something with you next week. I am seeing Matt obviously at the weekend. I've got a load of reviews I'm bringing back, including my Angry Phoenix, which I'm really looking forward to doing that one as well. So that's it from me. Happy modelling, take care. As always, being on a Friday, we're going to have a look at your great work for the gallery. So until Tuesday, everybody, happy modelling, take care.
I was not ready to falling like I'm wasted.